Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be making a patriotic porch hanger. So I got this sign from Dollar Tree and I'm just removing the letters. It said home on it. So I'm just removing them and then I'm taping off my sections that I'm going to paint red, white, and blue. So when you're done, it'll look like that. And now we're ready to paint. So I'm using Coastal Blue by Rust-Oleum for the blue color. And then I'm just using a regular white matte color for the white and a red, bright red matte color for the red. So I'm painting the red and the blue sections first and then the white section on top. And then once they dry, I'll remove the tape and paint the white section in the middle. So now while that dries, I'm taking these wooden beads that I also got from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to spray paint them red, white, and blue. I'm doing 4 of each color, so there will be 12 beads total, and then I will lace them on my jute string that will hang the sign. So now that this is dry, I'm ready to paint the white section in the middle. I will have to do probably 2 to 3, maybe even 4 coats because as you can see it does have that black writing on it and I don't want that to show through. So I am going to make sure that I do a couple extra coats on the white and then get that completely covered, and then we'll be ready to move on to our next step. Alright, so while I'm finishing that up, our next step is going to be putting the red, white, and blue wooden beads onto our jute string. So after we get them laced on in a red, white, and blue pattern, it'll look like that. And now we're ready to put our napkin on the top white part. So I'm putting Mod Podge down first so the napkin will stick nice and flat. And then I will also put another coat of Mod Podge on top. So I'm just taking apart the layers of the napkin and then laying that flat and then cutting off the excess. I am leaving some extra to fold over because I will be covering the back side as well. That is optional. I just like to do both sides of my project so it can be reversible. So like I said, you don't have to do both sides. I just like to in case I want to switch it around. So on the back, I'm just going to put the napkin on top like I did on the front. And then I'm just going to paint the base bottom part red. I'm just putting the matte red color on with a baby wipe and just spreading that all over the wood so there's no brown wood showing. Now, once that's all covered, I'll be ready to put my napkin on the top using the Mod Podge again so it sticks down, and then a coat of Mod Podge on top as well. Making sure all of the board is covered and then cutting off the excess at the top. So once this is dry and the Mod Podge is cured, we are ready to poke our holes through where our jute string will go. I'm just using a toothpick to poke where the previous holes were. And I just decided it needed a little something extra, so I'm going to put a ribbon in between the napkin and the 3 different colors, and then also on the back between the napkin and the red color. And I'm just using hot glue and E6000 to hold the ribbon down. And then I will also let this sit so I can make sure that the E6000 and the hot glue are dry and the glue cures. So after our ribbon and napkin and paint all dries, we'll be ready to lace through the jute hanger. So I did lace it through coming through the back, and then I will just put a little bit of hot glue holding the front part because that will be covered by our bow, so we won't need to worry about that. I just felt like it looked better hanging from the back instead of the front. So now I got these letters from the Dollar Tree. They're actually just cutout letters, and I wanted to use them for my freedom. For my word let, I'm just going to stencil that on in red. And I'm also using the stencils that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just using one of those sponges to paint the letters and make sure I get all of the areas covered in the stencils. After I have my LET stenciled, I will go back and do any touch-ups needed with the paintbrush and my heat gun drying while I'm painting. So after I'm happy with how the let looks, I'm going to put my silver letters down that will spell out freedom. And now I'm just using E6000 to glue all of them down to the board. You do want to make sure you space everything out first, so then when you have to write ring on the bottom, you have enough space to stencil that in. And we're just using the same technique with the sponge, stenciling it in, and then going back with the paintbrush and heat gun, making sure we're getting any touch-ups needed. So after we're happy with how the ring comes out, now I'm just adding a little bit of gems on each side, spaced out enough to where we could put a star in between each gem. And I'm just using hot glue to stick these on. So while the red side dries, I'm going to make the bow. I'm using 2 different ribbons that I had left over. I'm just overlapping them, and then I will scrunch the middle and hold it together with some floral wire. I will also add 2 ribbons on the bottom coming out from the bow to just give it a little something extra, and a gem in the middle on top. And to hold the gem in the middle, I'm just using hot glue and a little bit of E6000. I do actually add another gem, so there's like 2 gems on the top. I just felt like it looked more full, and you'll be able to see that when the project's done. So this is what my bow looks like. I'm going to set that aside, and now we're ready to put the diamonds on the blue side. I'm using my cutting board just to make sure that they are even, because I don't want them to be uneven, because like I said earlier, we are going to be adding stars in between, so I want to make sure everything is aligned. So we're just going down the blue side, adding all the gems, and then we will be ready to attach our bow. So I am using hot glue and E6000 to attach my bow, but I'm also using my staple gun because, as you can see, I am going to add a little bit of greenery on each side, and I just feel like the staple gun helps hold them in place. And since my sign is going outdoors, I do just want to make sure it's extra secure. So I'm getting this all situated and arranged how I like it. I'm going to do 2 greeneries on each side coming out from the bow. And once everything is secured with the staples and the hot glue and E6000, we'll be ready to move on to our next step, which will be adding the stars in between the gems. And before I start the stars, I will be adding 1 more gem onto the center of my bow. And this is how it came out. So I did decide to add a little extra ribbon in my bow just because I felt like my sign had a lot of silver in it, and I just felt like it would tie in nicely. So I did add that to my bow, and now I'm stenciling on white stars on the red and red stars on the blue. And then just going back, making any touch-ups needed. And then when my sign was all done, I spray it with my matte Mod Podge just to give it an extra coat of protection because it is going outside. And you could put this inside. This is a picture that I have it hanging in my inside living room, and then this is it on my porch outside. So you really could put this anywhere you want. I'm really happy with how this project came out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and come back for more.